Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing free speech and big tech. Now, these are not really usually topics that I get into here, but I was actually reading, I go through a lot of, we research a lot to make these videos, and we talk a lot here in the office about matters pertaining to, just the world around us. And this actually came up while I was looking around through the Bangkok Post, looking at other issues. And I was reading through this article, and I believe this is some sort of syndicated article, but it was in the Bangkok Post, bangkokpost.com. And I don't want to get in actually to this is a small excerpt. I don't want to really get into the meat of the overall article because, frankly, it's not relevant to this video. I just thought this one excerpt was very interesting. In any event, the article is titled, How an Indebted U.S. Physician Sells COVID Falsehoods. And you can read through that and form your own opinions about anybody involved in that article. The thing that I thought was strange and frankly quite creepy came from this quote, quoting directly. Again, the article is titled, How an Indebted U.S. Physician Sells COVID Falsehoods, Bangkok Post, bangkokpost.com. Quoting directly, but much of her prolific output remains accessible, illustrating the whack-a-mole problem of weeding out dangerous online content which big tech has yet to solve. There was something about that statement that just threw me for a loop. And the first one being, when did it ever become incumbent on big tech to solve any of that? Is my understanding, when Facebook, I remember Facebook coming online when you had to still have a .edu email. Like the suffix to your email had to be .edu. Back when you had to be going to school to join Facebook. Facebook was a platform for, just people to talk. There was never any notion that big tech needed to solve our thought problems. I mean, that was never there. Google for that matter, or YouTube, or any of these platforms. This notion I don't even, in a sense, I kind of almost don't blame the platforms, because the platforms seem to have had this responsibility, quote unquote, thrust upon them by a certain segment of the public or maybe segments of the media, because things were going out across. And look, I mean, crazy stuff goes across the internet. I mean, it's always been sort of known that the internet is this sort of wild west of ideas. There's all kinds of crazy things on the internet that, quite frankly, are nonsense. And there's very interesting things on the internet. There's things on the internet that you find that are very insightful that you wouldn't have thought that they would be insightful. Long story short, big tech has yet to solve. This is within this article. So again, this presumption that big tech needs to solve issues associated with what I believe it was Oliver Wendell Holmes called the marketplace of ideas. And that's the purpose of free speech, is a society has to be this kind of marketplace of ideas. And I would argue that during a time of crisis, that marketplace is more necessary than ever, because sometimes we need to find solutions, and sometimes they're found in very unorthodox places one would not necessarily think that they would find solutions to a given issue. And then further in this same excerpt, illustrating the whack-a-mole problem of weeding out dangerous online content. Okay, to me, dangerous online content is things like child pornography or, telling someone to kill someone or harm someone, things that create an imminent threat or that are in and of themselves repugnant and cause damage to people. Now just talking about things, even really crazy things that people disagree on, or just being a nut, being an idiot, you know, being in total disagreement with the overall majority, whatever. We got to have that marketplace of ideas. We got to be able to say, I think this, I think X about Y. You know, and I don't really want to live in a world where, you know, big tech needs to solve the free speech problem by, quote, weeding out dangerous online content. That's not their function. That's not what I think anybody wants their function to be. I think most people would agree we like them being a platform. We don't like them being a censor. You know, even, and let's be clear, crazy notions get weeded out by themselves. People figure this out pretty quickly. You know, that there are, you know, that you say something, you know, the earth is flat, and I'm sure the flat earthers will come running, flock into this thing to knock me down in the comments, whatever. But, you know, to me, that is on its face absurd. You know, the data, you know, the observations, it to me, you know, that's clearly absurd. Now, there are people that don't believe that believe the opposite. I don't think those people should have their freedom of speech solved by weeding out that dangerous online content. You know, disagreeing is not necessarily being dangerous. It can be really nonsensical and crazy, but the best remedy for that is the truth, not censorship.